Good morning, everybody. It's the pollinator. Again, Wakanda Forever. You know, I have that movie. I watch it every now and then in my collection. You know what? I realized after I played back this that last video that I wasn't finished talking about that dream and the significance it has had in my life for the last 4 years. So, my #1 fan is going to be happy with this because it hasn't heard from me in a while. And I wanted to continue talking about how that dream manifested in my life without me even intending it to. And I made a boo-boo in there, but I forgot to write down what it was. If you like my content, click that like button, click that subscribe button, and hit the bell. The bell will give you notifications when I upload videos. And as I've said before, I don't do it consistently. I don't make videos consistently. I just do them when I am inspired to do them. So this is The Dream, Part 2. And will be the final one. Hopefully I can stay on target. I can stay on topic. Because I tend to wander around. Sometimes I'm repetitive. And some of the things that I'm repetitive about, listen, is that not how we learn? There's two different ways of learning. When we're children, it's through repetition. When we're adults and we're able to think in a cognitive manner, we can either do it repetitively or transformationally. There are two different ways of that adults can learn new things. I don't believe in the you can't teach old dogs new tricks. I don't believe in that line of thought because I have proven over and over and over again that is just not the case. That's for people who don't want to, they want to be stuck as a bug in a rug and never have any kind of personal growth. There's tons of people running around like that. Their growth path is just like a snail. Not like the tortoise and the hare. Literally stop and don't grow emotionally, mentally. You know, this country values physical strength, you know, looking good on the outside while you can be real fucked up on the inside. For instance, but okay, I'm gonna get back to the dream in a minute. For instance, emotional and psychological abuse should be just as bad as physical abuse, but that's not how the laws are here. It's all about the physical abuse that is visible to people that lawyers will take on and blah blah blah. The legal system will prosecute physical abusers, but emotional abusers get off scot-free. Psychological abuse gets off scot-free. There are no laws to stop that from happening. And I say, people who are not on a growth path, they're immature, they're childish, they play petty games, they just do a lot of stuff that indicates that they are not growing at all. You know, I say that should be a crime too. Shit, if it was a crime, guess who'd be in jail? Guess who'd be chief in jail? It'd be under the jail. 45, the orange orangutan. the guy that does not deserve the title President of the United States. That guy, oh my God, he shouldn't be able to get away with the stuff he's gotten away with. And I know why. It's racism. It's white supremacy. It's why he's being allowed to do the shit that he's doing unchecked by the Republicans. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have a party anymore. Because the Democrats are making a mess. The Republicans are making a mess. The independents aren't even on the map. So my politics are my politics, whatever I choose them to be. I'm not a moderate. I'm not left. I'm not right. I'm not any of those things. I just believe what I believe. So let's go back to the dream. Oh, and I vote for who I vote for. And I don't tell people who I vote for. That's a right not to tell people who are voting for. You can campaign, but anybody comes up and to ask you who you're voting for, you tell them it's none of their business. That's why voting polls used to have claws over them. That's why they're separate from the voting booths right next to them. You're not supposed to be able to see what people are, who people are voting for and who they're not. I tell you right now, I didn't vote for the clown that's in there now. A dangerous piece of shit that's there. I didn't vote for him. Anyway, so the dream. See, I'm going to pick up where I left off. When it started manifesting, I didn't think consciously that I would become the leader, the man in the dream. That was not a conscious decision to become that leader. It happened because the way that I was going to reach all these people and take them to their version of paradise, to their goal of prosperity, whatever that is for them, was going to be the internet and fucker book. Now, I've been on every social media platform there is since the internet was born. Never have I gotten treated the way I just got treated by fucker book. And I'm going to tell you why. So I didn't build anything and say, okay, God didn't say, okay, I'm going to build this and then you pull people in. He built me. And people just naturally came to me. I had conversations with people every day, all over the world. I have friends, social media friends, all over the world. And I had individual conversations with these people that were very deep. And they would just naturally go there. I didn't ask somebody, do you want to have an in-depth conversation about your life? It just happened inside of the way that I speak, the way that I am, my personality. As much as I be talking in these videos, you should see what I'm doing at 120 words per minute, switching from 4 to 5 different chat windows. 5, 6. Sometimes I had 6 or 7 of them things open, and I was talking to individual people at each one. And I don't crosstalk. In other words, what I'm saying to one person, that's an A and B conversation. It wasn't A, B, and then jump over and talk about A, B, and C, and D. It was an A and B in conversation with all of the people that I have talked to on that platform for over 4 years. Now, I was on that thing since 2010, but I wasn't active, okay? I didn't become active until I transitioned. So the bullshit that they pulled with me had to do with, number 1, I'm black. Number 2, I was transgender. This stuff started happening after, and sexism, after I started becoming awake about all 3. And somebody got a hold of my account and wouldn't let it go. I wouldn't doubt if it was the same employee that has been haunting me like a fucking ghost for 4 years. More like 3.5. Yeah, more like 3.5 years. And between the things that I did on that platform, and I created a very unique group that I talk about in another video. In all these videos, you'd have to find it because I don't know what the name is. But I talked about that group. It was called Women Supporters of Trans Men, and it was a very unique group. It wasn't actually my idea, and I talk about that elsewhere. So first there was that. And I had a particular way of dealing with the people in that group. And I continued to do that. At the same time, I was ministering to people. Now, that is not what they knew I was doing. They just thought I was talking to them. And I was just talking to them, but I was talking to them on a level that was moving their life. Now, listen, in the middle of this, I don't know when the name The Pollinator dropped into my head, but it suddenly became very apparent to me that what I did in life was to pollinate people like bees pollinate flowers. I pollinate people. And I would go from person to person to person to person like bees do. Bees don't care which flower they pollinate, and neither did I. And because I was dealing with human beings, God had a particular way of pointing me at somebody's psyche, and I would just naturally kick in and go to work on them, with them. But if they became resistant, they became stubborn, they wanted to hold on to their bullshit, I didn't have time to sit around and try to take their worn out, fucked up blankie from them. I would keep it moving. I began to grow this kind of thick skin where, while I was being very, very compassionate with people, I'm also a no-nonsense type of person. I got taught by the best. I am a tough love type of individual. I don't know if that comes across in these videos, but I am. I don't co-sign people's bullshit. I don't even co-sign my own bullshit. I've got mentors and people I've had mentors and people and coaches and all sorts of people in my life since 1983, who would pull my covers and wouldn't let me get away with bullshit that I had going on in my head. And I used to tell people I have the biggest bullshit sniffer on the planet. I smell your bullshit a mile away. And I could distance myself from your stuff and distinguish your stuff from my stuff so that I didn't become codependent on your stuff. Did that work 100% of the time? No. When it came to intimacy is where I had a hole in there. And women could get in there and I could end up codependent on them. But I still didn't take on other people's bullshit and say, oh, maybe I caused it. Maybe it was something I did, because I'm very, very self-critical. And I look at what I do, what I say, with a fine-tooth comb, just the same way that I do other people. I was just built this way. I've been this way. Back when the internet began, I was called, they gave me the nickname Dr. Fox. I don't know who gave me that name, but that is what I did with people. Now, I didn't heal them. Well, maybe I did heal them. I persuaded them to go within and look at their own behavior and look at where they were getting in their own way and look at what, look at what they were doing. Make distinctions between what was their stuff and what was the stuff of the people they were talking about. And it's worked like a charm. Worked like a charm for many, many years, for several decades, over several decades. And that's what I was doing on Fuckerbook. That was annoying the hell out of somebody. You know they're in your inbox, right? Yeah, they are. They're watching people's inbox, and I have proof of that on my computer, that I was in a group chat with a bunch of guys, and suddenly I got a message to become friends with one of those guys in the chat. How else? And he was the only one that happened with. So I was sitting there expecting them to start sending me messages, that suggestions that I should become friends with everybody that was in that chat. But most of those people that were in that chat, I was already Fuckerbook friends with. So this one that they suggested wasn't my Fuckerbook friend. I noticed those things because I was a software expert. I noticed all the nuances. I noticed when they created algorithms just to fuck with you. When I started calling that place Fuckerbook openly on my timeline, they created an algorithm that said, flag that shit to be against their community standards. So I got around it. I put parentheses around one of the letters. And if they flag that, then I move the parentheses around another letter. I mean, look, they didn't like me because I'm smart. I'm pretty sure in whoever employee's mind that is, they thought I was an uppity Negro. And to a lot of users were probably reporting me as well if I scratched their psyche the wrong way. Not the wrong way for me, the wrong way for them, because they're the ones that were bent and hell-bent on smacking me down in a place that I could not be contained. The only, I wouldn't even say person, the only entity on the planet that I am obedient to is the one I call God. And let me tell you about my God. My God is not like a religious God. My beliefs are put together through bits and pieces of many, many different philosophies around the world. So when I say God, I use that word because it's convenient. G-O-D, easy to say, it's short, it's sweet, one syllable. But it's not Jesus. It's not Buddha. It's not any of those iconic figures that powerful people have used to control the masses. I made it perfectly clear on my timeline many a time that I believe that religion has screwed up black people in this country more than any other thing on the planet. Because they use that to make themselves God. White people, powerful, rich white people, used that to control us when we were slaves. Forgive them, coddle their feelings, walk on eggshells around them, while we get the shit kicked out of us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have to live with this, we have to live with the, either the knowledge that a lot of the bullshit that's going on around the country can happen to us, or we figure out a way to put up a wall to shield ourselves from emotionally breaking down from that knowledge. That's what they mean when they call you woke. A woke black person. Of course, you know what? The white people are starting to steal that shit too. They got to steal everything we create. That is driving me nuts. Anyway, so this is the kind of stuff that I was doing around that platform. This is how I implemented the leadership of that man in the dream. And again, I'm going to tell you, I didn't know, even when I was embracing who I am, when I was struggling with it for 3 years after I saw Bono on Dancing with the Stars. I wasn't thinking about this kind of thing. I wasn't thinking that that's what, I didn't know. I can't read the future. Sometimes I get to see it, but I can't predict it. I can do it in hindsight. but I can't do it in foresight. There is another paradigm that I also live inside of, which got created when I was 35 years old, which is that I am a future that I am called to. Think about that. My life, if it was put on a graph, it would not look like the Matrix. It would look like a maze. That's what my life would look like. From the time I was born, from the time my dad left and started his career in ball. You know what I did when I was 9 months old? When he left, see, I bonded with my father because my mother had a very, very weak stomach and she couldn't handle things that babies did. So I bonded with my father, and when he left, I was 9 months old. I started walking, I started talking, and I stopped eating. And it drove my mother nuts. And my legs weren't strong enough to really, really walk, but shit, my little baby brain said, ooh, fend for yourself. And I got up and started doing all those things at the same time. She took me to doctors. I wouldn't eat, I would only drink milk. And she would try to be slick and put food in my milk, and I'd see it in the bottle and throw the bottle on the ground. That's how independent I was as a baby, 9 months old. My dad laughed because he said when I started walking, I put my legs really wide so that I didn't tip from side to side. And if I tipped over forward, I could get back up. But I didn't like tipping from side to side, so I walked my legs really wide, and they were bowed until they started developing. Oh my God. So again, you know what? My life, that dream, it manifested on it. God manifested that. And all I had to do was step into it. And let me tell you, when it first started happening in 2016, it scared the shit out of me. I didn't want to do it. I was like, what? Nah. Nah, I don't want to do. I have a great love for people, and I have a great hate for them at the same time. I'm very compassionate, but they give me a headache and get on my nerves. And you think this asshole or assholes who banned me from that platform permanently and disabled my groups and crippled my pages and crippled my business, Let's sit here for a minute. Let that sink in. They were threatened or offended by a man who is committed to loving humanity, even as a separatist, even as a radical pro-black man that I am, even as a radical pro-black transgender veteran male that I am. I have a great affinity for people, and people knew that, which is why God kept sending them to me. It was like being, no, I don't want to compare this to war, although I could. And we are in a war. Black people in this country are in a war. It's a silent, covert, sneaky, snaky, disgusting war against us. We're being picked off. We're being murdered. We're being harassed for just living here. It's disgusting. It happened to me a couple of years ago, right in front of my complex where I live. Right in front of it. I almost got in trouble with the police again. But I hurried up and got out of that situation. This redneck cop, face turned beet red. He started screaming at me for no reason. He blocked my ass in the parking space, and I didn't block him. All I did is ask him to please move his squad car. But he turned around and saw a black man in a nice car. he started screaming and becoming extremely aggressive and moving toward my car. And I rolled my window up and said, fuck this, and started wiggling my way out of that parking space. And then I pulled up next to his squad car and wrote down all the numbers on his car. And I reported him to the chief of police in my county. And those suckers, all they tried to do was get my phone number. They said they investigated it. And you know what? I've got a silver hair eyelash that just, I could see it. I have to pull that out somehow. Yeah, I was talking about the police. Consciously or unconsciously, they got nerve to say they're afraid of us. No, we're the ones that need to be afraid of them. They're the ones that are KKK members without the hood on their head. And then they talk a bunch of black people into becoming cops too, thinking they can make a difference, and all they end up doing is getting sucked into the system and having to be quiet. At least their ass get hanging in the wind in a firefight. If they don't go along with these racists that are the po-po, they don't go along with the bullshit that they're doing and they're pulling, they're going to end up being hurt. So I'm talking about black, brown, yellow police officers. Notice they keep popping up in these incidents too. And they're also jumping in on the act. There's a blue code, there's a black code, there's a white code, there's a brown code, there's a yellow code. Them people with the uniforms on are all singing to the blue code first. And then when they start chanting Blue Lives Matter, when they're the ones that are getting away with what they're doing to people in society, I hope before I die, I don't see that this country turning into become a police state. It's getting that way. It's becoming that way. They're getting away with everything. But then there's this other thing going on where it's starting to get, all departments do and all corporations do is distance themselves from those people. They'll fire them, but they can just go to the next county, to the next precinct, to the next wherever and get another job. There was one that had worked for 3 different precincts and kept abusing people in all of them. See, they should have a national license to practice. And that way, when they get fired, they cannot continue to be cops. It happens in the corporate world too, folks. When I was a consultant, we had this guy that was so fucking useless. He used to show up to work. You know, I'm getting away from the topic. I'm getting away from the dream. But it's all kind of relevant because, you know, I see these things and I'm able to utilize these things to this day. But this guy was so useless. He'd come to work. He had, with a newspaper, he'd prop his feet up on the desk and would fall asleep with the chair leaned back with the newspaper over his face, snoring. Every day. So finally we bought a bunch of plastic golf balls, and we used to throw them to see if we can get them in his face. Because sometimes the newspaper wasn't there and he'd be snoring with his mouth wide open, so we would be throwing ping pong balls at his mouth. Eventually that shit got to the manager, and the manager made him attempt to do some fucking work. But he didn't know how to do it. He was useless. This guy was making a 6-figure income doing nothing. So eventually, because he just could never do anything, he got let go. I'm going to say let go, because you know what? That's what happens. And then a year later, 2 years later, I ran into him in an interview in a completely different state. I said, see, this is what happens to white folks. They protect each other. They stay on code and they pass each other around. They can be useless pieces of shit. They can not know how to do their job. They'll get paid $150,000, $200,000 a year to be incompetent. Look at the business system. Look at our healthcare system. Look at the pharmaceutical companies. Look at the insurance companies. Look at these corporations. Look at all of these people and how many people are my age that see that they're incompetent now. that they're all running on their own. You know, they're out there on their own, and they're making up rules as they go along. Fucker book included. So I became the leader, not just online, not just on social media, but in the area I live in my family, with my friends, real friends. Social media has created the type of climate where there's a whole bunch of people running around there that don't know how to make real friends, and they don't have any. And they think that people on that platform are their friends. They're real friends. And no, they're not. They're acquaintances. Until you meet them and have conversations with them over the phone, they aren't your friends. But they have created, social media has created an environment. There was a guy that quit. He was one of the executives of that platform, and he quit because he saw what an incredibly destructive monster that thing was becoming, and he didn't want nothing to do with it. I can't remember his name, but I saw he was giving a talk to a university about social media, that it is making people mentally weak and dumbing them down. And he was giving alternatives for people to stop, you know, relying so much on it. Now, I relied on it because that was my life. That was my lifestyle. That was my career. And I was good at what I did. They knew it. They pulled the rug out from under my feet. That's why they won't tell me why, because it was race-based. It was something that I could use in a court of law. They stripped my civil rights. They stripped my human rights. This is humiliating. People can't find me. I can't find them. I got disconnected from my support structures there too, from information that I need as a trans man, from people finding me to do medical reports about transgender people with. They were finding me there. And they stripped all that away on purpose. That has to be, you know what? Karma is a bitch. And I hope whoever did that suffers. I'm serious. I'm not going to be no kowtow, forgive you type of man. I don't wish the best for you, because you have done something that you know, it not only hurt me, but it's hurting the world. You knew it, whoever you are. And you users, you whiny ass fucking users on that platform. Competitive jerkweeds, pussy willows. People who reported me because, you know what, I annoyed them, or I hurt their feelings, got into a conversation they didn't win, so they sought revenge. I'm getting ready to say something about trans men, especially trans men who don't step into the man part of that word. But they're running around with a dual personality. They're calling themselves men, but they acting like women. They acting like bitches. Petty ones. I call them like I see them. I don't sugarcoat shit. And that was a lot of the allure to me. I could minister to people because I talked just like an average, ordinary Joe who actually cussed too much. But I didn't talk like a minister. I am a minister through a particular church that I found online. I'm not going to tell you which one, but I have a certificate, and I am a minister. I can even marry people if I want to. But that's not the reason why I got it. God talks to me every day, all day. When he tells me to jump, I say, how high? And I learned that, and guess where? The military. But you can't come along as a human being and ask me to do that. I will probably go the other direction. I won't say how high unless I trust you 100% with my life, with my emotions, with everything that I am. Those are the only people who I would jump for. If they asked me to jump, I would say how high. But the average, ordinary Joe, they can kiss my ass. They try to tell me that. Women included. Especially them. I'm the king of my castle. And she don't treat me like a king. She ain't gonna get treated like a queen. And I mean that with all of my heart. I'm done placating women. And I'm also done placating and tiptoeing around white supremacy. It is a system of which all white people are part of that system. They benefit from that system. If they're not bucking that system, they're being silent about that system, they are white supremacists. Now if I said this directly on that platform to people, they would have a cow. No, I'm not. You know, the first thing that a lot of people do when something goes down with us is run up to us and tell us how they're not like them. I invite people to go watch videos created by Dr. Degree and another doctor named Robin. Oh, God. She speaks at universities, and she's a white woman, but she breaks down racism, and she's a white woman, and she knows that white people benefit from racism. This economy benefits from us. We are the biggest consumers of this economy. We built this, our ancestors built this economy for them, for free. And we're still doing it for free. We're doing it for peanuts. Most of my friends, are working 2, 3, 4 jobs. Ain't got time for school, ain't got time for relationships, ain't got time to breathe, ain't got time to get their life together, don't have time for shit because they're paying people less and they're working them more without benefits. You gotta pay extra for that. And I'm lucky that I came up at a time when I got to work for one of the greatest companies in the world. Great benefits, excellent vacation package. When I got sick, I just took a day off. Nobody fussed about anything when I was coming up in my career. So all of this stuff combined has made me a leader and somebody who sticks out everywhere that I go, whether it's in person or on the internet, because I'm the same way. Ain't no catfish over here. What you see is what you get. And but I'm a character at the same time. I mean, I can either make you laugh or make you cry. You piss me off, I'm gonna make you cry. You're kind and nice to me and treat me like a human being, I will treat you like a human being back. If you've got issues, I'm like a mirror, and I'll put the mirror up and it'll bounce right back in your face. 95% of the time. There are times that doesn't work. And I just have to get away from that person because they're stuck on stupid. Again, I call them like I see it. I don't sugarcoat nothing. Now, there are certain people that I respect that I do not talk the way that I normally talk around, and those are my elders. Every once in a while, I slip up, though, around them and let a curse word out. I don't cuss around my dad. I ain't cuss around my mom. That's a black people thing. White people did it all the time. And when I was growing up around them, I would come home trying to act like them children, and my mother would be like, Who the hell you think you're talking to? Just sit your ass down somewhere and go to your room. Don't come in here talking like that. I said, well, yeah, but when I was next door, this little girl was talking like that to her mother. I said, she said, you ain't talking like that to me. I brought you in this world. I'll take your ass out. How many black people have heard that? Raise your I wish I could see people. I wish I could do lives. This year, I'm going to use... You know what? I don't celebrate the holidays anymore because they're all bent around capitalism and making white people rich. So I don't participate in the holidays anymore for that reason. Not that I have a hatred for the holidays. I don't. But for political reasons, I don't. But I'm going to take advantage of Black Friday this year and get a newer phone. This phone sucks and the camera sucks, and I'm going to use that holiday to get a good deal on getting me a new phone. I tend to keep electronics for a long time. My computer is ancient according to technology, but it was top of the line when I bought it, so it's humming along pretty good here. And as far as that dream, figure it out. I think this is video number 135. I've got 135 videos where I'm speaking on this channel. I've also got some old dance videos, but I had to stop doing that in the camera because of my feet. I'm gonna get that sorted out too. I finally found a news station who's willing to expose the VA on my behalf. He's gonna start snooping around and expose them because they're starting to get exposed a lot in this area. And I'm gonna utilize that. Also, I'm gonna put a link in the description to one of my articles on Medium. The last one that I've written about my story. I was writing it and then I stopped halfway through it. I usually make one story, 2 stories, so that they're short. But a lot of stuff happened and I had to stop after 1 of 2. So I'm going to continue to make number 2, and I'm going to put a link in the description of this video straight to them, and the friend link. Unless you write for Medium, you're not going to know what that is, but it's going to give you an in to be able to read it regardless of some of the parameters of that platform. And I'm also going to jump back in the video I did yesterday and link it to this one as part 2. But I'm still rocking the house. God is going to help me with whatever evil fell upon me, and trust me, the motives of the people who banned me from that platform were evil. I'm no Farrakhan, but that's how they treated me. I'm not even a Muslim. I'm not any kind of religion. And they treated me like, uh-oh, this guy is a real threat. Or, we just don't like him. We don't like that he's arrogant. We don't like that he's arrogant, he's fun-loving, he seems to have a lot of followers, a lot of people are watching, a lot of people are responding to him. He's putting other black trans men on the platform, on the map. You know, there's other people kind of sort of doing that, but they're not doing it at the deep levels that I was doing it. They do it as entertainment, again, as entertainment, not critically thinking people who have something to say about how things are going in this world, how things are going in their life, how things are going in their social circles, how things are going on their job, how things are going. Look, critically thinking people are a threat to white supremacy. Let me say that again. Critically thinking black people are a threat to white supremacists. Multiple. And I have no doubt that there were users on that platform that were in cahoots with the employees of that platform, and all of them were white supremacists that did not want to see me win. They saw that I was winning, and they threw up a hurdle that is going to take heaven and earth to get over and to get around and get to. And I don't have time for this shit, but I also, my lifeline depends on my ability to help others. They knew that too because they've been studying me for 4 years. Motherfuckers. Yeah, I'm mad. You know, inside, I'm pretty mad about it. But who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be if you were erased off of something that is so huge that nobody with a good business sense would not be there with? Yeah, it was foul. It was wrong. You know, all of the groups that I owned, that I started, all the data is gone in them. And I had the foresight to make a couple of people the admins of those groups so that they could see what was going on in them when I got deleted. Everything I ever posted is gone. I look like I was never there. What kind of evil motherfucking shit is that? For somebody like me who was such a big resource to people all over the planet. What kind of bullshit was that? Huh? You tell me. And you know, I would be mad at all my fans and friends and people like that for being such cowards about not leaning on them to do something about this, by not giving me resources to fight this, for not, yeah, for that. I could be bitter and sour about that, and trust me, it's in the back of my mind that, you know what, y'all are some pussy motherfuckers for bailing out on me. And acting like what happened to me didn't happen, and oh, let me protect my own ass and make sure it don't happen to me. Now I'm talking about you watching this, especially those that are on Facebook. What you're doing is what white supremacists do, which is bury their head in the sand and act like what's happening isn't happening. That's the covert kinds. Now, the overt kinds are real obvious to see. But the covert ones, you can't, you know, it's not obvious. But it's obvious to me who all of you are who didn't even sign the petition. At least that. I talked to hundreds of people. Hundreds of people. And I got 50 signatures on that thing. 50. For hundreds of people that were gracious enough to let me in their heart, to let me in their minds, to let me in their psyche. I know Facebook scared you because of what they were doing to me. But damn it, get a spine. Mine was big enough for all of you. But yours is not for me. You are not one of those people that helped shield what tried to kill me. Because that's exactly what them motherfuckers tried to do. They're trying to do. Trying to push me back into a dark place. And they knew it. That's part of the psychological warfare tactic that they're using on black activists on that platform. I'm a black activist. I wasn't a transgender activist. I mean, I did help a lot of trans people. I helped them get their name changes for free. I was doing it in inboxes, though. I wasn't doing it publicly because I didn't want an avalanche of people wanting me to help them change their ID. And somehow word got around because people were coming to me, you know, anyway, and would ask me if I knew how to do that. And I'd say, yeah, and I'd tell them how. I show them how. Some of my favorite people on that platform got their name changed because of how I helped them. And then when strong people and strong leaders need help, that's when you really see who your friends are, who's really there for you. When the chips are down, who sticks around, And who makes you a stranger because they're afraid what happened to you is going to happen to them. And it's only a handful of people who I can say were there for me when the rug got pulled out and I fell down. Anyway, with that, you can kind of piece together the leader that I became and how that dream got manifested, not intentionally by me, but by all of you who sought me out for comfort and advice and mentorship and fathership. I know y'all busy with, doing your little selfie things and participating in your social circles and stuff like that, but those of you who did reach out to me outside of that platform, thank you. I appreciate it. If I don't help you win, I don't win. That has been my motto since I was 26 years old, since my first year of sobriety. I don't know how I figured that out. I didn't have those exact words for it, but my life was all about helping others. I would tell another little story here, but I have... Crap, my battery is getting low. So the quality of this video is going to change. Because I just went to low power. I want to tell you a story about me helping somebody in my first year of sobriety, and that person finding me decades later and telling me that something I said in the meeting changed their life. That was a trip when that happened. But it's been happening for a good 10, 20 years now. It was just happening vastly on that platform because there's 2.4 billion daily users on that platform. And God sent me plenty of souls to talk to heal, to laugh with, to fuss at, to do all the things that I did on that platform that made me a useful human, productive human being on the planet while I'm disabled and retired. And with that, I'm going to bid you adieu. To have a blessed weekend, have a great weekend, and the pollinator is out. Talk with you some other time.